Hey everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant, and welcome to GreyElephant Gaming. Today we're going to be doing a quick review on Jaws the board game. Now before we get started, do me a favor and hit the like button, and if you haven't yet, you should subscribe. It's very encouraging. So let's get started. Now this was sent to me by Ravensburger. I've got it all set up here, and this is the game that we actually had just finished playing. So what I'd like to do is just kind of basically give you my opinion on it. Now if you want to see how this game works, I highly suggest you check out the Play-Thru. We did a live cast where I went head to head with Amanda, and she played as the crew, I played as the shark, and we were trying to see who would best the other person. And well, I'd probably just leave it up to you to watch it before I just tell you exactly what the outcome of that was. So this board here is double-sided, and if you're familiar with the movie Jaws, this is Amity Island right here, and it's broken off into sectors, if you notice. And the shark will basically be moving between all these sectors, and basically the crew members, which would consist of Brody, Hopper, and Quint, are going to be traveling around the island and also on the waters to try to locate the shark, and they want to try to tag him so that way they can track where he's going and blah blah blah, or she, I don't know. Is Jaws a girl or a boy? Are you a girl shark? But that's where it comes down to this fun little cat and mouse game that I really enjoy about this game, okay? Because this is the fun part. Now I've only ever played as the shark, and I mean, playing as the people and the crew would be fun, and I would love to try to change that up at some point in time. But I find that it's a little harder to teach on how to become the shark, because you have information that you're having to write down, and you have to make sure that not only are you being honest about the information that you're writing down, but you also have to make sure that you're precise in the information you're writing down. You can't screw up as the shark, because if you do write this down incorrectly and screw up of where your location is, then really it kind of throws the whole game out of proportion. Act 1 is difficult enough for the crew members to try to track down Jaws, enough as it is that if Jaws actually screws up on what they're writing in their little book here, that it would really make the game even just that much more difficult. So what's the premise? The premise is that the crew is trying to go around Amity Island via water and also land, and they're trying to tag Jaws with these barrels, these trackers right here. And if we turn his little player board over, if they can get a couple on there before Jaws goes around, eats 9 swimmers, then they will successfully go into Act 2 with a greater chance of being able to defeat him in Act 2. And what do I mean by that? Basically, this is the little tracker. So like if Jaws only eats 5 people, he would draw 6 cards, or kind of like, think of them like power abilities, and then the crew would draw 7. But as you notice, as it goes up, it dwindles down, and the crew is going to be left kind of high and dry. And there has not been a single game yet where I have not eaten all 9 swimmers. Now I have been hit by barrels here or there, but nobody's ever tagged me with 2 barrels yet to be able to force me going into Act 2 prematurely before the shark dictated that. So the swimmers will appear on each one of these 4 different islands, and basically Jaws is going to go around and just gobble them up. He has some special abilities here, and I know this is a mess because that we just did play this, and like I said, check out our playthrough that we did, and it's going to give you even a better understanding. But because of these 4 special abilities that Jaws has, it makes it even more difficult to try to track where he's at, because even though he eats a swimmer, and you'd say, hey, oh, okay, so he was at West Beach, he ate 1 swimmer, that means he's only either at West Beach or 2 spaces away at most, right? Or close around in that region, because the shark only has 3 actions. Well, not necessarily, because these tokens being played are going to make the shark have like superpower abilities where he could swim away even faster, or eat more people than it takes for like 1 action per eating a swimmer. Well, possibly you ate all the swimmers for just 1 action. You can actually swim through locations with these little trackers, and you don't trigger them. And then Brody and Hopper both have the ability to use a fish finder and binoculars to try to make the shark surface, but you can also basically go undetected with that information as well. So there's a lot of advantages to the shark in Act 1 that I feel like almost gives a slight edge to the shark, almost unfairly, because he is so powerful in Act 1. Like I said, I've never went into Act 2 without eating all 9 of the swimmers. And then of course that in Act 2 gives me even more ability to try to win the game. With that said, it needs to be set up this way. And the reason I say that is because really it is 3 against 1. And even though the shark is extremely powerful, he needs to be powerful enough to be able to try to be as successful as possible in Act 1, because Act 2, in my opinion, is a slight edge towards the crew members. So if they were able to defeat him prematurely on, say, like a 4 or 5 swimmer track, going into Act 2 would be devastating for the shark. So the shark has to get up to at least 7 or above swimmers to I'd say maybe 6 or above, but I still think 7 or above would be that magic number where the shark, if it does not hit that mark, is going to have a lot of trouble in Act 2. I want to show you this little board a little bit more too. So we do have the whole map right here, and this is all going to be private information that the shark's going to write down. And basically you write down the location where you start, and then at the beginning of the game, and then what you're going to do from there is you're going to basically write down where you ended, where you ate swimmers, and then if there's any special abilities of your tokens, those 4 tokens that I showed you, of those that you would have used. And then basically from there you're just going to keep going. Where did I end? 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 And then basically it's also the start of your next turn of where you're going to be. And then it's up to the crew members to try to locate you and try to tag you with those barrels. Now, this is where it gets cool. Now, when we go into Act 2, we get all these tiles, and these make a boat. It's kind of like a puzzle here. And they will form a boat up here on the board. And if I was prepared, I would have already put this together. But anyways, it makes a boat up here. And then the crew members are going to be walking around up there, and they're going to be trying to, you know, draw the shark out, and the shark's going to submerge and then attack them. Now this is really where it gets a lot of fun, because they have weapons like a baseball bat, a hammer, a machete, they have rifles, they have all kinds of things to try to kill the shark, and it's very thematic towards the movie. And I think that's what's most impressive about this game, is that if you are even remotely a fan of the Jaws films, this game draws everything away from that movie and just puts it perfectly into a board game. As you can see, there's a lot of little pieces that are laying around here, and everything that you see, this huge mess, this pile from where we did our playthrough last night, is all going to be used and involved in this game. So when it comes to this portion of it, the crew member are going to try to use their weapons. They're going to try to predict where the shark's going to raise up. The shark is going to have these little abilities that they can use to try to like gobble up extra pieces of the boat, or try to, you know, knock the players off of the boat into the water so that he could try to chomp on them as they're in the water swimming around. And really what it comes down to is that the shark is either going to destroy the entire boat, eat each 3 of the crew members, because they do have a little health bar here, or the crew members, as you can see, it became very close in our playthrough, but you're not going to know that. I can't show you this information. You have to watch the playthrough to see how it worked out, right? Did they actually get it down and I didn't move the marker, or did it stop there? Well, that's going to be up to you to watch the live cast that we did and determine for yourself. So what do I ultimately think about this game? I think it's an absolutely brilliant depiction of what the movie would actually be if we were to put it into a board game. This is exactly what I would expect. I think they took everything that was awesome about the film and they just rolled it up into a great, you know, bundle of an experience that you're going to have here. Even if you're not a Jaws fan, I think that this is just still, in my opinion, a solid cat and mouse hidden movement style of a game in the first act, of course. And in the second act, it's just, you know, this pound, 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 you know, and it's still a bit of a cat and mouse as well, but it's all about just trying to be smart about what you're going to do. Try to look at the cards, try to predict what your opponent's going to do, and really you're going to do well in this game. I can't commend this game enough, to be honest with you. I think it's an absolute brilliant game, so much fun, and I would really like to be able to sit around. Now, I've only ever played 2-player. One player controlled all 3 of the crew members, and one player controlled the shark, and that's always been me. I think it could be a lot more fun, even if you put like extra people with it, and that's what we did in our live cast, is that we actually had the computer up here. We put it to where the viewers could actually make suggestions on where they think the shark could be, because the more information you can try to process and think through, the better your chances of survival are going to be. So, do I recommend this? Absolutely, man. Check out Jaws, the board game from Ravensburger. I do not think that this one's going to disappoint you in the slightest. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up. I do appreciate you guys watching, and adios.